Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, they always say never bet against James Cameron. And I guess that is true. You know, I'm always fair and I try to keep things as unbiased as possible with my reporting, as much as, of course, I chime in with my own opinion. But on a news piece, Avatar is doing really well. Sure, on the lead up, I didn't think it would. I'm happy to admit that I was wrong. It is doing really well. Now, the numbers, at the time of recording this, the numbers aren't 100% updated. However, this article releasing yesterday said that Avatar: The Way of Water jumps to 955 million worldwide through Monday and will hit $1 billion with Tuesday grosses. So, it is looking like it will now be $1 billion. $1 billion. Wow. So yeah, I was wrong. You know, I didn't think this movie would do very well. I don't know. Just one of those things. It's one of those things that you look at a film and you go, what's the cultural impact? What was the hype? It didn't seem to be a lot of hype. It's almost as if there's a lot of silent lovers of Avatar. But again, not that that's bad or anything like that. Just important to acknowledge when you are incorrect. And on this, boy howdy, I was incorrect. Now, again, I don't want to sort of cloud this video with too much of my own personal opinion. You know, I don't want to talk too much about whether I think it will hit $2 billion. You know, there are some movies which, oddly enough, could get in the way of it. But I also will say that I don't think they will this time, primarily because I think in the States anyway, there's a significant storm which is putting people off being able to physically go out and watch it. So if it's hit $1 billion already and there's still a storm, I think that bodes well, regardless of what films are coming out. And what film I'm referring to is actually Megan. And I know that sounds odd, but that's an odd movie which could do surprisingly well. Randomly well. There's a lot of hype for Megan. It was trending massively on Twitter when that trailer released. People just... I mean, I don't personally get it. Freaky doll murdering movies, I guess, sure. But whatever. So let's take a look at this article from Deadline. The Way of Water is close on its way to the 1 billion global box office mark, having more than handily crossed $900 million worldwide through its second Monday. This is the latest benchmark for the highly anticipated sequel and comes just 13 days after global rollout began. So, you know, if it basically hitting $1 billion in, 2 weeks or something like that, I mean, that's just crazy. With $955.1 million through Monday, The Way of Water has become the number 3 highest grosser of 2022 and the number 4 biggest film of the pandemic era. I still don't subscribe to the pandemic era belief. I think genuinely films have just been ropey and people aren't going to go watch ropey films, especially as money gets tighter. Or what they perceive to be ropey films anyway, because that's subjective. What's more, it is expected to hit the $1 billion worldwide milestone with today's turnout. And this is the situation, right? So it is only done, and it is only, just as an FYI, $293.2 million domestic. That's not a lot. You know, it's actually not a lot of money at all domestically. And that is a clear indication of that storm really affecting it. And like I say, it flies in the face of my rough estimate that this may not do a $2 billion because of films coming out which could impact it. I don't think that's the case now, primarily because there's clearly, you know, a hunger to see this film. And regardless of what film comes out, I think people will still go and watch this film because they weren't able to because of the storm. And we're talking about, you know, pretty heavy snowstorms in the States. So internationally, The Way of Water now stands as the number 2 release of 2022 and number 3 studio title of the pandemic era. Midweeks last week were very strong, and the sci-fi epic is continuing that trend this week with vacations in full swing and a lot of holiday distractions in the rear view. I don't know whether this will continue on into this weekend coming up, And I don't think that'll then impact it moving forwards. I just think it'll be like a skip a week situation. And the reason why I say that is because, it's New Year's Eve. I can see the justification to go and watch a movie across the Christmas period with your family. New Year's Eve, especially UK side, is it's very much a piss up time. It's not really time with your family, it's get wasted. As we like to do in the UK. So I don't know whether this will continue this weekend, but it's still interesting nonetheless. But let me know if, in your part of the world, what New Year is like. Because that'll be a good indicator as to whether it will continue through this weekend. But let's have a look. France and Italy, for example, saw their best days of play on this week's Monday since the film opened. So that's interesting. Monday's total offshore haul was $52.2 million. Domestic was $31.5 million. It's a lot of money in one day. That is a lot of cash in one day. The top 5 overseas market through Monday are China, $104.5 million. That's still quite small for China. You'd expect them to do a lot more, but there's a lot going on in China at the moment, which is impacting that. France, $60.5 million. And this is what I mean, like when a place like France is comparable to China, it's not that much off of it. Obviously, it's still a significant chunk, but it's not that much off of it. China, you'd be expecting $200, $250, $300 million for this type of film. Genuinely. So it's significantly less, but we know the reason why. And I still think this will do well, if things open up in China. I don't know if they are, though. China's a bit of a mystery. Korea did $55.4 million. Germany, $41.5 million. And India, $39.2 million. On Tuesday, and not included in the totals above, the 20th Century Studios Disney sci-fi epic rose to a running cume of $108.7 million in China per local estimates. Ticketing service Moan has again increased its projections, now seeing a $170 million final. And again, we know why that would be the case, just as an FYI. Local estimates bring the cume through Tuesday to 58.2. So it's doing really well. Like, there's no argument about this film. It is doing really, really well. Whether this continues or not, who knows? I've been wrong, and I'm happy to say I was wrong, so I think probably, yeah, I guess, now. I still don't think it necessarily deserves it, but that's my personal view. It is doing well regardless of that. And I guess that just goes to show that, we can all be slightly out of touch sometime. And this is just one of those times that I was absolutely out of touch. Similarly to Prey, on the lead up to that film, I was like, looking like it could be a bit woke. Came out, I was like, good. Enjoyed that film quite a lot. So, these are just the trials and tribulations of looking at the system and the industry in play and potentially getting a bit bogged down with it, in fact. I always used to remain and try to remain as earnest as possible. A wait and see approach. But, we all get a bit disenfranchised sometimes. But let me know what you thought of this film personally. If you haven't seen it, let me know why. And if it's The Storm, let me know if you're going to go out and watch it. To those guys celebrating New Year's this weekend, tell me what kind of celebration that is, because I'd like to get a cross-section of general comments to see whether this weekend's general vibe of a new year will affect things moving forwards or not. I'll be really, really curious. I know in the UK, I think it will affect it because people will be very tired. And I think genuinely a lot of people will not want to go to the theatres this weekend because in the UK, like New Year's is just go out and get absolutely trolleyed, as we call it, or get wasted, get, effed up. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Love to hear your thoughts. I like doing these sort of general censuses, so let me know down below. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please do hit subscribe. Please do give the video a like. Check out the second channel if you stayed this long. It's down below in the description box. It's a live stream clip channel. We cover lots of different content. Same as this kind of content. Different format with live studio panel guests. So anyway, cheers guys. Take care.